When I first saw the price of this Honor Pad X7, I thought it's gonna be awful. But after using this for a short while, I'm really surprised, and I think you, after watching this video, will be shocked too. First of all, let's talk sheer portability. 8.7-inch TFT LCD display, and it weighs just 365 grams. So the benefit you have here is this is about as pocketable as it gets. So you can slot this into your backpack. If you're one of those people who wears a really big coat like a parka, you can chuck it in there, and it means you can then benefit from having a tablet on the go for a really long period of time. The other addition you get here, and the benefit you get here, is being so light and so small and compact as well, is if you were to use this to read or to watch content and using a single hand, for example, on the train or on the bus, or if you're waiting for a bus or a train, it actually works really well, and you can benefit from a couple of really cool modes. There's an ebook/reading mode, which essentially, when triggered, goes into hyper battery saving mode, and then you have sunlight mode as well. Now, sunlight mode just essentially ramps up the brightness right to the top, but it does this without losing all of the detail in the text or the images or the video that you're watching. So you're not really losing out by sharpening up the brightness or by moving into something like an ebook mode. But what you do have here is a tab, although small and compact, will be able to give you quite a lot of versatility in how you use it. So that display, 8.7-inch TFT LCD, 500 nits of peak brightness with an 81.3% screen to body ratio, 90 Hertz refresh. Now you're probably thinking TFT LCD, the content on here is not going to look great. Don't get me wrong, it's not a top tier level LCD like an IPS LCD or an AMOLED or OLED display, so you're not going to get the crazy rich colors, but it does a fairly good job of playing back content. It doesn't look washed out in any way, shape or form. And actually, this is the bit that shocked us the most. It looks really good. Colors look well balanced and decent. Sometimes it can be overly contrasty. We have it in sunlight mode here to show you the brightness. And again, you're not losing a lot of detail by ramping up the brightness on the display. It actually looks really good. The only downside I would say personally on the display front is the uneven bezels and borders. You've got thick top and bottom, which are significantly thicker than the actual middle of the frame, which can be a little distracting, but when you get used to it, it actually is pretty good. So in terms of watching content, in terms of things like browsing the web, checking emails, docs, etc., all that works very well on the Honor Pad X7. So the Honor Pad X7 is a super budget tablet, and this shows when it comes to its processor. You get a Snapdragon 680 chipset, which was actually released in 2021, which gives you an idea as to where the cost saving and the budget cutting has come when it comes to the price of this tab. You also get 4GB of RAM, 64GB of storage as your base, and only configuration available here in the UK, but expandable storage up to 1TB, which is sick. You also get a 7020 mAh battery, and one of the other downsides beyond that processor is its charging. It does 10 watts of wired charging, which is insanely slow, which is a big shame. However, real world term applications beyond the specs, when it comes to things like gaming, you can't expect to have any high performance gaming here, or even mid-level performance gaming. In fact, playing Call of Duty on here was a bit of a hit and miss, so we cut that out, and that wasn't great. So I think this X7 is probably suited to more casual games, things that would probably have less tax on them. So things like, for example, Mario Kart or Mario Run or Crossy Roads. Casual games are just pick up and play, a quick bash, and then you shoot off. But they do look and run really well. You get decent colors, good quality graphics, and then the sound profile again is pretty decent to what you can expect from a tab that costs less than £100 euros or dollars. So factor that in when you are watching this review, that we are looking at a tablet here that is super budget, super basic, but it fits a need. So things like very basic casual games work very well. And if you're just doing the basic fundamentals that we've already mentioned, things like browsing the web, checking your emails, basic document creation, banking, all those things that are very basic and not taxing work well on the Pad X7. Honor OS, when it comes to running on the Pad X7, couple of conditions here. When it comes to AI, it has none of Honor's excellent AI features or functions, for example, things like being able to rewrite notes, wherever have you, or the knuckle tap, and all those AI features don't exist, and those gestures don't exist. What you do get is Gemini integrated in two ways. One, of course, as you'd expect, is through the app itself. If you tap into the app, then you can go straight into Gemini and you can do multimodal prompts or just ask it generic questions. You also benefit from things like circle to search, which of course we are fully aware of. So if you circle around an object, it'll then tell you what that is and where to find it. Both of those work very, very well. In terms of the OS itself, it's quite a stripped back basic experience. For example, you can't even do multiple windows at the same time on the X7, but what is there works very, very well. It is smooth, interactive, fast-paced, and doesn't crash or cause any issues when it comes to things like jitters, drop frames, or accidental closure of apps for no apparent reason, or kicking you out of apps for no apparent reason. That is really, really good, because especially the people who are going to look to buy this tablet, for example, if it's for the kids, or they want it for just those basic reasons, it's going to work quite well. You can, of course, have all of the benefits of Honor's OS. So for example, things like going into a control center, being able to customize that, being able to customize your wallpaper, icons, all those things work very, very well. It's just a super basic version of Honor's OS compared to what you'd normally have on the higher end tablets or phones. The Honor Pad X7 is a pretty basic budget tablet because it's stripped back. You only get 4 GB RAM, 64 GB of storage. There's no OLED and there's no 4G connectivity option. But at that price point of £99, euros and dollars, what you do have and what you do get on the tablet shocked us as being super, super usable. Because we reviewed a couple of budget tablets in this size before, 8.7 inch, like the Redmi Pad SE and the Samsung Tab A9. And both of those worked reasonably well. The Redmi much better than the Samsung, but there were limitations. And it's exactly the same scenario here with the X7. You get a device that would probably be really good to just do your basic casual gaming, bit of browsing, bit of emails, and then you're just browsing the internet and downloading a couple of apps. It'll work perfectly for that, but nothing beyond that. So would we recommend this tablet? Yeah, if you, for example, wanted a slightly different version of a Kindle, or you're just doing your raw basics. For example, if you wanted it for your child, or for a parent who just wanted to use it just in between, or you just wanted to kind of cut down on your screen time and keep it super, super basic with just books and the odd bit of gaming. For that, it'll be absolutely brilliant. But let us know in the comment section your thoughts on the Honor Pad X7. Is this tablet too budget and too stripped back to even recommend? Or are you looking at this and thinking, that's a good idea to reduce my screen time, but be able to use it as, for example, like we said, recently Amazon Kindle books, or to just keep things pretty basic, or for your kids? Let us know in the comment section. Whilst you're there, be sure to like and subscribe. Until next time, as always, we out.